and let's talk about trust and vision. And trust with a team is it's a subject that is very, very tender to my own heart. In order to build the kind of organizations that we are all setting out to build, we have to have people that trust us, that trust that we know what we're doing, and that trust our intention, that we are all trying to lead our businesses and our companies in a direction that is in line with our belief system and with our values. One of my biggest values is, of course, faith. And so you see that in a lot of what I do. I'm not like a faith pusher, as in like I don't pre-qualify, like in order to be part of, my team, you have to have faith in God. It's really not like that. But when you have a value, this is one of the things that they spoke about in Thrive. At Thrive this weekend, you really want to make sure to sew it into your company. Well, trust is one of those foundational beliefs. And without trust, a leader really can't do anything because they will be second-guessed all the time. So this first slide is trust. Who cares? There are some people out there, I think, in the younger generation, and please don't laugh. I know I'm 33. I don't exactly qualify as being an ancient voice of wisdom in this earth. But when I see the people who are younger than I am and some people who are my age, there is this big interest in wanting to cut corners and to speed up a process that takes time to grow. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see in upcoming generations and that I see in people around me, and sometimes that I feel in myself, is this idea that I'm not really breaking trust, I'm just stretching it a little. It will not serve you in the end. People will not follow people that they don't trust. And when you're not trusted, or when you don't trust others, everything is a battle. So as a leader, you may tell your downline something like, hey, team, you really want to make sure to follow up with your people. And when they get a kit, you want to count 7 days out on the calendar and give them a call and follow up with them. Well, that might seem like a simple instruction, but if your team doesn't trust you and what you're saying, everything is going to be questioned, and you're going to be starting from the ground up over and over and over again. No duplicatable system is going to work without a leader. It doesn't work. You need to have somebody that is going to help train, or several people, mind you. And to be duplicatable, part of that is the ease at which information is dispensed. So no duplicatable system will actually work without a leader. Then your team, if you have found yourself to be untrustworthy, your team is going to have issues because they can't rely on you for the basic things that they should be able to rely on a leader for. And here is one of the issues that I hear about every once in a while. People call me and they go, oh, Beverly, this just happened. What do you think I should do? And here's something, this is one of those things that I have heard more often than I care to, which is a downline member sent an unsigned up customer to their upline to get a bit of information that they didn't have. And that upline ended up taking that customer, either by, keeping the enrollership when they shouldn't, or, something to that effect. Oh, I'm going to keep the enroller and I'm going to sponsor them under you. That's really not in most cases, there is exceptions to every single rule, mind you, but in most cases, if you take your eyes off yourself and you put them on the members of your team, your business is going to grow by leaps and bounds very, very, very quickly. So never worry about your own check. Always worry about making your team the strongest it can be and making them the most money. And oh my gosh, there are so many steps that you're going to be able to skip, and in a good way, in a good life-giving way. So don't stress out so much about enrollership. Don't stress out so much about sponsorship. If somebody comes to you with somebody, if the more you give away, the more you push back, the more that you love on other people, the better it's going to be. So what do you do to build up trust? Well, there are 3 qualities that build trust. One is competence, and that goes 2 ways. So the first thing with competence is you have to know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, admit it. So don't pretend that you know something that you don't know. So if somebody asks you a question about the compensation plan, and or they ask you a million questions about the compensation plan, I have found this to be a factor mostly in the men. The men really want to drill down on the numbers. If you don't know, it is better for you to say, you know what, I'm not sure about that, but let's find out together, and you dive into the website, or I will find out for you, and then you find out the answer and you get it back to them. That is so much better than pretending that you know and then it turning out that you don't actually know. But you should really be diving into your Young Living business and figuring things out. You know, go to a class knowing what you're going to teach and having confidence about it. But competence is definitely a key to trust. The other thing is connection. And the idea that love covers a multitude of sins, that is a biblical idea, and it is so true. It's so true. When you really have a love for somebody and you have a relationship with them and you are digging into life with someone, and they do something that looks questionable, chances are you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Or if they totally botched it, chances are you're going to give them grace and you're going to help them find a way out. It really covers a multitude of sins. So get to know your people. Get to know their birthdays, get to know what they like, have conversations about them, make sure that you know why they're building their business, why it's important to them right now, because one day you might have to take a little withdrawal out of the relationship bank. And you want to make sure that there's plenty in there, that when you have to admit a mistake, that there are people, it's okay with them because their love for you will cover up whatever mistake that you have made. So connection is huge when it comes to trust. And the third one is character. Character, I feel like, has really become a very unpopular subject in the U.S. When I talk to people and ask them about their character, it's like almost, it struggles to be a positive conversation because people want to have a very solid character, but they don't really want to talk about it. And so I find that very, very interesting. So this quote is from General Norman Schwarzkopf, and it's leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, be without strategy. So his whole point is that character is really key, and it's very, very true. Character makes trust possible, and trust makes leadership possible. John Maxwell also says that without trust, there is no leadership, because no one is going to follow somebody that they don't trust. So how do you build character? This was something that I had to sit down and think about for myself as well. I really want to have flawless character, but you know, if you've made some mistakes and you've gotten a little bit dirty in life, sometimes you have to go back to you know, that foundational principle of character. And so here are some really, really simple things that you can do that will start building up your credibility and start building up your character. I read a lot of books, and so sometimes I don't always remember where I got a piece of information from, but be on time. If you want to start a relationship off on the right foot, personal or business, the best thing that you can do is be. And I just read this, actually, I think it may have been in a different John Maxwell book, but he said that to set an appointment gives someone hope, to show up gives somebody trust. So don't take on more more things than you can handle, because the second you have to reset an appointment or you show up late, you are already making that person doubt your competence and your ability to get there on time, but to doubt you as a leader. So think before making commitments, and only make commitments that you can be 100% focused for. This used to be my pet peeve around some people that I knew who were, they were actually in the ministry. And what would happen is you would say, hey, you know, Bob, would you like to get together for a cup of coffee? And they would say, absolutely, let's get together for a cup of coffee. So almost without fail, I would show up at the coffee shop and be by myself. They would show up about 15 minutes late, and then the cell phone would go on the table face up, so that while we were talking, they would be, quote, multitasking. And so they would be having their conversation with me, but they would be texting or keeping up with life on their phone. And it never really felt like, you know, we may as well have not have been having coffee together. So when you make a commitment, make it for a time when you can be fully focused. And if you can't be fully focused for some reason, make sure they know that. Sometimes if I go out and I meet a friend for dinner and my children are with a babysitter, I will say, hey, Angela, I know we're going to be having dinner and I'm going to be giving you my full attention. Please know that. But I do need to have my phone out so that if the babysitter calls, I can answer in case there's an emergency. So if there's some reason why you can't just put that phone away, or if you have something that might potentially distract you, make sure that they know that ahead of time, and that's really going to help. Take the time to know your stuff, of course. And then we have a family motto. We have a few of them, but this is one of them. And it is everything with excellence. That is a family motto in my house. And what I want to try to instill in my children is not that you have to do everything perfectly, but the few things that you choose to do and put your name on, do them excellently. And if you keep doing that again and again and again, you're going to build a reputation for having things done to excellence, and that is going to get people to trust you. So feel free to steal my family motto there, everything with excellence, and use it on a few things in your life. Not everything. Again, we don't want to err on the side of perfectionism. But when you choose to take up something, take it up and be really, do it really, really well. So that is chapter 5 of the Leadership 101. And now chapter 6 of this book actually talks about vision. And I cannot have a conversation about vision without talking about a vision board, because vision boards are huge. And Terry was going to, we were seeing if she was going to have some time. She's tied up with meetings. She was thinking about giving a vision testimony. And Terry, do you happen to be on by chance? Okay, it was kind of up in the air on if she'd be back or not. So let's talk about vision boards. And this is one of these things that I have gotten from Terry. If you want to talk about learning from your upline, the one thing that Terry does, well, she does more than one thing well, but one of the things that she does really well is cast vision. Every member of her team knows what her goals are for them, for her, for the company, where she's headed, what she's thinking about. She's very good at sending vision out there over and over and over and over again. I think every single one of us, unless you are a little bit new and you haven't been able to get really into the teaching and stuff like that yet, is I think all of us know the phrase, changing the way the world thinks about healthcare. It's on everything she does. And that's her vision for the Essential Oils Health Line, for the Royal Dream Team, is to change the way the world thinks about healthcare. But how do you get there? How do you get to being a vision sower? So I read this book called The Vision Board Book by John Assaraf. John Assaraf is kind of interesting because he does use like spiritual texts in his books. And a lot of them are Christian, some of them are not. So it's kind of funny when you read through it, it's not just an instructional book. I mean, he kind of digs into a few things here and there. So just know that if you want to pick up the vision board book, it's very, very short. Like it's one of those that you can sit down in one reading and kind of read all the way through it. But discontent with the status quo is a great catalyst for vision. And that is a John C. Maxwell quote out of the Leadership 101 book. If you can think to earlier where we were talking about not knowing what you don't know, I don't know what I don't know. I think vision is kind of like that. You need this little, you can be happy and content and not growing in your life. And all of a sudden, something comes along that gives you this bump. And it tells you, oh, I need to grow in this area. Or, oh, I need to get this thing that I've let loose under control. And so the status quo, it's an absolutely great catalyst for vision. So why is vision important? Zig Ziglar is one of my favorite vision casting people out there. He's a great salesman, or was, I should say, great motivator, amazing, amazing man. And he, one of the very first things that I ever learned from him was how can you reach a goal that you don't even know you have? Zig Ziglar has this way of giving you one sentence that makes you go, oh. And that's what this one did for me. How can you reach a goal you don't even know that you have? In my life, in your head, you kind of go, okay, I want enough money to pay my bills. I want to be able to retire happy, but you don't really put a timeline on it. There's no date next to when you want to retire. Where do you want to live when you're retired? I don't know. You don't think about that stuff in your 20s. You don't even think about that stuff in your 30s. You have this goal that you want to be comfortable for the rest of your life, but you don't really know where that exists or what it really means out there in the great plane of existence. So when I heard this, how can you reach a goal you don't even know you have? It talks about, to me it speaks more about focus. You've got to know the goals that you have so that you can head in the right direction. So people need to get behind something, even if it's kind of silly. And I'm sure that you have people in your life that you just help. Like you just like to help them. There's something about them. A lot of these people are the vision casters of the world. I am not naturally a vision caster. I'm a vision keep it to myselfer, because my concern is, well, what happens if I share this goal with somebody and I go, hey, Missy, I want to be platinum by convention. And then convention comes and goes and it doesn't happen. Well, how do I explain that to her? What do I say? What are my excuses? One of the things, I'm going to see if I can find the quote because I didn't actually write it down in this on one of my slides. But John Assaraf actually says something about that. He says something to the effect of, we will actually spend more time coming up with excuses versus actually completing the vision that we have for ourselves. So, don't get lost in that. But anyway, so a lot of you that have done business training with me, I have this big goal. And you might even be able to say it to yourself if you remember, but my big goal is I want to take all the kids and I want to put them on a plane and go to Hawaii. And we want to stay in Hawaii for 2 weeks with no cell phone, no way of getting a hold of anybody, just me and the kids in Hawaii and the beach and the sun and the sand and the water and, all of the wonderful food that you can get there. And when I come back, when I board the plane and I head back to the United States, I have more money in my bank account than I did when I left. And that goal exists because it means to me that the things that I'm trying to sow into my life are there. I have a fantastic team. My team is very empowered to be able to grow, and they know where to find information. So even with me exiting for a couple of weeks to go on vacation, my business grows, and they're growing, and they're making more money. And that's something that people can really get behind. I mean, it's my goal, but to think, wow, that's fantastic. Let's help Beverly achieve that goal. People sow into it. It really is quite interesting. So think of something like that for yourself as well. So no chicks paint, all the horses jump. This was Walt Disney's vision for Disneyland. And if I could hand over one person that manifested so much in his life, these huge, big, gigantic goals that were out there, they were really amazing. I mean, if you think about it, one man should not have been able to create an entire industry that did not exist before in his lifetime, during his lifetime. So here's a little story about Walt Disney. This is coming from John Maxwell Leadership 101, page 52, if you happen to have it in front of you. But it says, back when Walt's two daughters were young, he took them to an amusement park in the Los Angeles area on Saturday mornings. His girls loved it, and he did too. An amusement park is a kid's paradise with a wonderful atmosphere. Walt was especially captivated by the carousel. As he approached it, he saw a blur of bright images racing around to the tune of energetic calliope music. But when he got closer to the carousel and the carousel stopped, he could see that his eye had been fooled. He observed shabby horses with cracked and chipped paint. He noticed that only the horses on the outside row moved up and down. The others stood lifeless, bolted to the floor. The cartoonist's disappointment inspired him with a grand vision. So this was the status quo that birthed the vision. In his mind's eye, he could see an amusement park where the illusion didn't evaporate, where children and adults could enjoy a carnival atmosphere without the seedy side that accompanies some circuses or traveling carnivals. His dream became Disneyland. And as Larry Taylor stated in Being Orange, Walt's vision could be summed up as no chipped paint, all the horses jump. So that was his vision. And try to get a vision like that for you, this one-word vision that really describes what it is that you're trying to do with your essential oils business. You know, are you trying to change the way that the world thinks about healthcare? Are you wanting to empower people to grow businesses from their home? What is it that you are trying to do? So this is where the vision board comes in. So meet the vision board. And here's some instruction on really how to develop the vision. The vision board is just a tool that you use to create your ideal goals and life around you. It helps you get vision. So this is a picture of Terry's actual vision board. And here's what's funny about this. Terry and her sister Jan got together over a weekend. They took an entire weekend to make their vision boards. This was at the beginning of last year, before Terry even started to travel to speak. Terry is a stay-at-home mom. She had 3 children, and so she put off speaking and traveling and doing those things because she wanted to be home for her children. She didn't want to be an absentee mother. So this is when she first captured this vision to really want to travel the world and speak. And this is the vision board that she created. And anybody who knows her will laugh because every single thing on this vision board, with the exception of one thing, and I'm not going to point out which one that is, came true last year. And it came true in startling accuracy. So the first thing at the top of her board here was Royal Crown Diamond. Well, she made Royal Crown Diamond early of last year. I think it happened within a month of her actually creating this vision board. I don't exactly remember. She wrote some books, and she traveled. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see all of the places that she named where she wanted to go, and she has actually spoken in every single one of those countries. So a vision board, what? What is that? What kind of, crazy New Age idea is it? Well, a vision board is actually not a crazy New Age idea, believe it or not. All throughout the scriptures, it will talk about how without vision people perish. That's actually it's in Proverbs, I believe, or maybe it's Psalms 28. Is without vision people perish. It also talks about Abraham was one that would go into a field and meditate. It actually uses the word meditate. So vision is actually throughout the Bible, sculpting vision casting vision, not casting like a spell, but just being able to step out what your vision is. So your vision board is a way of creating clarity around the life that you want to create for yourself, and I would add to that, and your loved ones. It is a physical representation of your ideal life, your goals, and your big dreams. So why does it work? I was astonished to discover that there is an actual scientific reason as to why a vision board works. And so all of us in our head have something called RAS. It's the reticular activating system. And it helps your conscious brain and your subconscious brain filter out all of the bits of information that it is taking in, and it focuses on one thing. So at any given time, you are looking at things, you are hearing things, you're touching things, you're experiencing things, you're feeling, your brain is feeling your clothes on your body. It's calculating your breath, your heartbeat. It's taking in the different changes in air and air pressure. Your eyes can react to something coming at your face before your brain even realizes that it's coming, or your conscious thought, I guess I should say, realizes that it's coming. So your mind, your brain uses specific things to help you be able to focus on only one thing that you are doing, okay, or that you are considering. So for example, one of the ways, this is the easiest example that I think just about everybody has experienced, which is you decide that you want to buy a car, or you come in contact with a car you like, or you just buy one. One of those three things happen. All of a sudden, you are driving down the highway and you see that particular kind of car everywhere. The model, the make, the color even, you see it all over the place. Because all of a sudden you have activated this RAS side of your brain, the location, but anyway, so you have activated this, and all of a sudden your brain can filter out every oncoming car, every parked car, every car outside the window, and it will bring your attention to, boom, there's the one you've been thinking about. What, over here? Yep, there's the one you've been thinking about. Oh, look, here it is again. It's down the street. It's up the street. It's coming towards you. It just passed you on the highway. That is what you are doing with a vision board. All of a sudden, subconsciously and consciously, all of the items that are going into your brain, they're going to be filtered out so that you gain focus with the items that are on your board. Without clear instruction, your reticular activating system, it can only try to pick up on clues about what it is that you are wanting to filter out and what it is that means the most from random thoughts and random emotions. So it will tend to go several ways at once. And so I have an example of that I'm going to share a little bit later. But getting a vision board is going to make it go, here are the things that I want to focus on. And all of a sudden, it's going to start filtering out distraction. If you say, all right, I really want a red pair of boots, all of a sudden you don't really see the black pairs, and you don't see the gray pairs, and you don't see the white pairs. The only pairs of boots that you see are red. If you don't tell your the RAS that you are looking for a red pair of boots, just that you would like a pair of boots, all of a sudden you're looking at gray pairs, black pairs, white pairs. Every time a pair of boots kind of goes in front of you, you tend to notice it. Okay? So particular is fantastic. So a vision board focuses thoughts and allows it to guide you where you need to go. One of the examples that is in the vision board book, I thought that was quite amazing, was there was a man who wanted to buy a particular kind of watch for his wife, an Omega watch. I know nothing about watches, so I'm not sure the quality of an Omega watch. So he flipped through catalogs and he found the exact Omega watch that he wanted for his wife, and he cut it out and he stuck it to his vision board. Boom, I want to buy this for my wife. So he was going around and he was seeing that watch, that RAS system was pointing out the watch when he went through, but it was always more than he could afford. So he had to add that the watch needed to be within a certain price range. And this was the first time he had kind of tried this out. You know, he was checking out the whole vision board thing, seeing if it would help. So he was at a department store, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, his brain goes, boom, there's a watch. There is that exact watch that you're wanting, that you have been thinking about and telling me to find you. So he walked over and he told the sales clerk, he's like, okay, you know what, I just want to buy this one. I know it's probably out of my price range, but let me buy this one. Well, little did he know that that watch was actually on sale. And it actually was a little bit under the budget, because he hadn't consciously noticed all of the sales signs. There were sales signs all over the place. He hadn't noticed them, but it gave his brain room to go, boom, here's the exact one that you want at the price that you can afford. So when it comes to creating your vision board, set aside a few days to really put time into it. And you want to update your vision board every 6 months. So think about doing like a vision vacation, a couple of days, maybe a weekend. You don't actually have to go anywhere, but where you can set your intention to creating your vision board or updating your vision board if you already have one. So step number 1 is you want to sit down and actually come up with a list of adjectives and words that describe your life. So here's some examples. A few of these are from Terry's vision board. So she's got Singapore and Malaysia. She's actually been to Singapore twice now. Honoring God as a family, having happy children, being an inspiring business speaker, which for anyone that has heard the Awaken the Entrepreneur in You series, it's amazing. It's very inspirational. Australia, Germany, Japan, Austria, you know, these are all places where she wanted to go to speak. And if you look at the other one, I just pulled this one off the internet, but abundance, being inspirational, getting clients, having success. You know, choose a lot of these words that you really want. So next, you're going to select photos that are physical representations of those words. So if you want, you know, words that you can think of or things that you might want to think of is you want to consider your personal goals and aspirations. Think about your relationships. Don't leave relationships off. If you want to have a strong marriage, put strong, happy marriage on there. Think about your family, your health, your wealth, your career. What accomplishments do you want to do? What kind of impact do you want to have on the world? Think about your spiritual life. Do you want to have a sense of connection with things around you? Do you want to deepen your relationship with the Lord? You know, think about your spiritual life as well. Use that to come up with your words. And then you might want to select certain images. So on many vision boards, what you will see is you'll see a home, a car, a boat, jewelry, clothes, art. Maybe you want to remodel kitchen, so grab one of those, you know, a picture of that. But don't worry about just material things. You know, when you're thinking about your children, your family, maybe you are trying to find a soulmate. Maybe you need some great career partners. Like how many of us really need some great business builders? So get into Google or get into some Success at Home magazines or some business magazines and just select a couple of pictures that could represent your next business builders. What about friends? There's a lot of people out there who do not have really, really close friends. So if you want some, find a picture that represents that and put it on your board. For spiritual things, inner strength or maybe being more calm, maybe you want a spirit of adventure or peace or justice or excellence. You know, maybe you just want to become a person of excellence. So think about those things as well. And then as far as materials go, typically a poster board, you know, it's 2 feet by 3 feet usually. I like foam board better because it's thicker, but you can certainly use poster board or cork board is what I'm using right now. So I just kind of, when I find a picture that inspires me, I will stick it up on my cork board, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So you've got to choose a glue as well that's strong enough so that you can move your vision board without fear of it falling apart. So I don't always like glue sticks for this. Liquid glue tends to work better. But yeah, you want to make sure that it's a little bit mobile. And then as far as the actual color of the vision board, some people like to choose particular colors. I don't think that so much matters as what is on it. So what do you do next? Well, after you have your vision board, you want to hang it up, and you want to put it someplace where you're going to see it every single day, okay? And at first, just let it hang around a little bit. So put it up on the wall and walk by it and see what resonates with you. You know, what feels good? What do you want to see more of? What do you think you need to change or alter? I wouldn't necessarily recommend removing anything because there's a reason why you put it up there the way that you put it up there. So unless you did your vision board where you were angry or, you know, something like that, and you have a big X over your husband's face and you've replaced it with a picture of Brad Pitt, you know, don't take down anything. Just add to it. So feel free to change it. And when you're all set, it's time to laminate it. So snap a picture of your vision board, you know, using your phone. I've done this several times. Go down to Office Depot or Staples or whatever happens to be close to you and ask them to make a few copies of it in a few different sizes. I don't go nuts, like I don't have one on every wall. I've seen people do that though, and if that speaks to you, then by all means do it. But I do enjoy having a wallet size copy of my vision board. So when I travel, I have one that I can pull out of my wallet and just think about it every single morning. So place those, laminate the copies so you can move them around. And then I have also written on mine. You know, I will be somewhere and I will think of something and I'll pick it up and use a permanent marker and I'll end up writing on the back of it, you know, something else that I maybe want to add to my vision board or like some words that I want to put up there. So now you're going to put them in a place where you can see them. Again, some people go nuts. It's like on the inside of cabinets and on their refrigerator and over the toilet roll holder in their bathroom. Others stick with just a few spots. So now what? Okay. So now what you have is you basically have, oh, great, now I've got a piece of paper with a bunch of pictures on it. So what? You know, this is when you have to take the next step, which is a little bit scary for people, but I promise you this is not some sort of, you know, crazy like voodoo or something like that. You want to spend a few minutes each day, and you want to add sights and you want to add sounds to what you have just created, okay? So when you're looking at your vision board, one of the things that I have on my vision board is I have, I really want to take my kids to Disneyland. That's one of my big, big, big goals this year. I've got a lot of kids, and you know, Disneyland is not usually a splurge that I would make. You know, at $100 a ticket, it can be a little out there. See, you see all my doubting beliefs right now? It's new. I just had this goal this week. So what I did was, is I took a beautiful picture of Disneyland and I stuck it to my vision board. And so I'm actually going to pull this down for you to look at because I think this is a little bit funny. Okay, so I'm going to start my webcam. Hopefully this isn't going to be scary for all of you. And hopefully it's going to work. We'll see. Anyway, oh, there I am. Hello, everybody. This is me in my home office. Nice to see you if I haven't met you face to face. Okay. I use the call-in option, which is why I'm on my phone. So I don't actually listen in. And just to tell you, this is the vision board book that I got a lot of this information from. Like I said, it's very short, so it's a nice, easy read. Okay, so the first item that I added to my vision board was this one. Can you guys see that? It's the cutest KitchenAid mixer ever, and I've wanted it for years. And, you know, one of the things that I think I just shared with you is, it's on this next slide actually, so let me see if I can get that to pull up, is you want to find a partner to believe with you, you know, your goals, and to be accountable to you. Or to be accountable with, I should say. So this was my little picture. This was the first one that I had on my dream board, and I did it just like this. Like I just printed it off of Amazon. because I've wanted this mixer for forever, but I've never really put it on a vision board. And so I had this sitting up on my board, and my guy came over, and he saw it up there, and he said, why don't you dream bigger? And every once in a while, we need somebody who will tell us that, who will come over and say, why are you dreaming so small? You know, you're building this incredible thing. Why not dream bigger? And so that is what grew to this picture. This is my Disneyland picture. This is Disneyland. It's not Disney World, to be specific. It's actually Disneyland because I have family in that area of the country, and it kind of became part of my goal was to not just go with my children, but to go with my family. And so I put this up on the board, and I knew that, you know, part of this is actually sharing it with people. And so for the very first time, for those of you who are at Thrive, you may have seen Heidi Swap talk about this. And what Heidi Swap said is that as she was growing up, her father would always share his vision and his goals with her. Everyone in the family knew what Dad's goals were. So they were able to actually help, you know, I wouldn't really say help, but just kind of believe with Dad, okay, this is what we're doing next. So I pulled my 7-year-old into my lap, and I grabbed my iPad, and I pulled up a bunch of pictures of Disneyland. And he said, wow, Mom, that's fantastic. I want to go to Disneyland too, but can we take a train? So now I'm going to have to find a picture of a train. And I did actually look it up. And believe it or not, there is a train that you can take from Denver to LA and go to Disneyland. So that's amazing. But anyway, I actually wanted to take the time to show you those pictures. And let me see if I can turn it properly. My vision board isn't even done. If you want to talk about, you know, learning as you go, my vision board is right over here in my office. It's behind me. It's this corkboard board right here. And I just took those pictures off, which is why it looks kind of empty. But I have all of these things kind of hanging off of it that are all different goals. This is my son's, my oldest son who's still in the house, Caleb. This is his college, and this is the bill. And so, you know, I want to be able to send him to college without a big college bill, which is why that is on there. So there you go. Welcome. Welcome to my home. Okay, now back to the task at hand. So the last thing that you want to do is you really want to add positive action. One of the biggest fallacies that I hear out there, the secret and the law of attraction, you know, all of these different things have become very big in our industry. And what they do is they tell you, okay, just sit and meditate and add the intentionality and do all of this stuff, and all of this amazing things will just be attracted to you. But you know what's missing from that is the positive action. You've got to get out there and start making steps towards your goal. And believe it or not, it starts to get really exciting. I think when I first start training people how to do the business and they come to me and they say, Beverly, I want you to train me how to do the business, probably the biggest thing that they are afraid of, most of them, not all of them, believe it or not, is I don't know if I want to go talk to people about a young living business and about essential oils. I don't really know what to do. What do I say? But when you get the vision that you want for your life and it's in front of you every single day, all of a sudden, it just becomes the most exciting thing that you're going to do that week. It becomes the most exciting conversation that you're going to have. And that's part of that positive action. Read a book, role play, get on the phone with your leadership, with your upline people, and ask them questions and see what you can do to actually get started and head it off in the right direction. And not everything, you know, surrounds young living. Use it in other areas of your life as well. And then, of course, use that partner to be accountable to, because every once in a while we need somebody who goes, okay, this is your big dream, Jane. You want to get to Montana. I bet you that you want to do it in grand style. So let's talk about the things that might be limiting your belief in your ability to be able to get there and have a huge house where all the grandkids can come play. Or, you know, whatever the case might be, you may need somebody like who I have in my life that tells me, how come you can't dream bigger? You know, why is there nothing but a cute little mixer sitting up there on your board? So that is everything for today, you guys. I hope that it really gave you some food for thought. When it comes to vision boards, I want to see every single one of us do this. I want to see us do it with each other. I mean, I think that that would be really fun. So I am going to try to set up this little Google chat or the Google Hangout, and we're going to see what we can do to try to do this together.